today we are covering yet another reformulation in the industry, and this one's a pretty big one. This one is the Huda Beauty Pressed Setting Powder. And they're taking a very interesting approach for marketing, pretty much agreeing that the first one that they launched kind of sucked, and that they are righting their wrongs. Huda Beauty herself has been in these marketing campaigns like, yeah, you're right, this wasn't that good. It's just interesting the approach that they took, but I mean, it is facts. Because originally, you guys know, this video should be a quick one, but you know how I be. We'll see. But this video is for my girls who, like myself, are big fans of the original loose setting powder. This is my #1 favorite setting powder. It's my go-to setting powder. I use this all the time on and off camera. I test makeup for a living, so I try a bunch of different things all the time. I don't really have a set makeup routine, but this is one of those products where I pretty much use it over any product if I have the chance, if I'm not testing any new products. This is what I use whenever I do foundation and concealer reviews, because this is like, I know how a product wears with this because I use it so much. And so, what, a year and a half ago or so, she launched the Easy Bake and Snatch powders, which were supposed to be the pressed versions of our favorite, or my favorite, loose setting powder. And I said in my review, they are not the same. This sits on top of the skin. It is not nearly as blurring. The thing with the original powder is that it was so fine and it literally made pores disappear. And then I used this and I was like, well, what the heck is this? Bad launch, okay? So it's just been on the market for a while now, whatever. Some people liked it, some people didn't. And then, as of late, recently, Huda Beauty said, you know what, you guys were right. This powder did not represent the loose setting powder, even though the marketing said it did. It did not, okay? You can't lie to us. I'm gonna tell you. And she says, we've redone it. This is it. This is the loose setting powder in a pressed form. So that is what I'm gonna test today, because I feel qualified to be a judge of that as somebody who has used this powder for so long. In a better way. So you can actually purchase this powder right now. It's available at Sephora. It is $40. It is $1 more than the loose setting powder. By the way, this is old packaging, but it's still same product. I kind of miss this packaging. Anyways, the new packaging is better, but doesn't matter. So this is gonna come in 8 shades. You know, sugar cookie translucent, cherry blossom cake, pound cake, all the way up to cocoa truffle. I'm going to demo pound cake because this is kind of my go-to shade when it comes to the loose setting powder. Now this is non-comedogenic, it's super fine, it's talc and fragrance free, 12-hour shine control, non-caking, airbrush matte finish. I mean, everything that we already know and feel about the loose setting powder. I just really hope it's the same, okay? You guys should not give her a second chance unless I can tell you today if it's worth it or not. Do not buy this powder until I am done with this review, because we've been lied to before, okay? This was not what they said it was. This was not the loose setting powder. So if you did purchase the pressed setting powder last time, the packaging is completely different. It's much more sleek. Look at that. This old packaging, I didn't feel it was clunky before, but compared to the new packaging, it was clunky. The old packaging had this little sifter thing with, you know, you can put the sponge at the bottom. It came with the ability to go like that. But anyways, this new packaging, no fuss, no frills, easy to clean plastic. This powder is made in Italy. So was the last one, by the way. 8.5 grams of product, blah, blah, blah. It's looking the same. No applicator that comes with it, though you can buy sets. You do have a mirror here. Okay, honestly, pretty sleek, simple packaging. I don't mind it. Let's clip this hair back, coming close, and let's compare these. So as far as what's on my face right now, first of all, I will have everything linked down below. But for the specific foundation and concealer I chose the new Maybelline Plump and Glow foundation and lifter concealer, because these, they don't blur the skin at all, so you can see my pores really well with these. Not that these are a bad product, but I thought it was a good foundation because they don't do my pores any any favors. So any of the blurring that you're gonna see happen, it is truly just the Huda Beauty product. So we're gonna do loose first. The OG, the classic, the one I know very, very well. So just gonna stick my sponge in. I'm not using the Huda Beauty sponge, though they do have one, but I wanna use what I normally use. Okay, so you're gonna be able to see. It's just so good. This is the best powder ever. It's so light, but blurs everything, super thin. Right here is normally where I feel like you can tell the most. How it just makes the pores disappear. Sets the makeup in, my go-to for events. I'm gonna layer a second little layer. I mean, I hope in this demo you can see why this powder is my absolute favorite powder. So, no notes here. This is just the standard. This is the comparison. So you know I already love this. Let's get into the Pound Cake Easy Bake Pressed. This is a different sponge. Make sure I have no other powder on my face. So I'm gonna give that a couple twirls. I haven't tried this powder yet directly next to the loose powder. This is the first time I'm doing that, but I have put this on my face already. So like I know what to expect. I know how to feel about it. Ready? No commentary, just application so that you can see. I mean, what are you thinking? Loose versus pressed? Can you tell a difference? One thing I can tell you immediately, right away, this is so much closer to the loose setting powder. And I will accept the marketing here where they say this is the pressed version of the loose setting powder. I think it is close enough to say that. I think it looks a little bit more, I'm gonna say cakey, but I don't mean that in a bad way, but it is a little bit of a thicker application here. And I just think that's because it's easier with the sponge to pick up a ton of product. Whereas with this one, you really gotta get in there if you want to really layer it on. But I don't feel as though the loose powder will ever get cakey if you continue to build it up. But for some reason, the pressed powder can build up and cake up a little bit. But when I say cake up, I don't mean in a horrid way, but that's just the biggest difference. As you can see, I do also feel as though the Pound Cake shade is slightly deeper, slightly more yellow, whereas with the loose side, it is slightly more brightening. But overall, I mean, I think the blur and the effect is similar. I still like the loose powder better, but I think when you're in need of a pressed powder, this is pretty darn close. It's gonna do a similar job, but that's how I feel in general with just this style of product, not like the Huda Beauty formulas in general. Loose setting powders tend to be more airy on the skin, less cakey, more airbrush, versus a pressed powder, which has a tendency to look a little bit more dry. And I mean, that's kind of carrying through here, but they're definitely similar enough. The new reformulation, they did a very good job with this. So when to choose to use loose over pressed? When do you pick one over the other? Especially when I would say when setting the under eyes or really wanting to lock in the makeup, I would say you should probably go for the loose still. I think the loose is still superior, but I think going in with the pressed, maybe as a finishing powder or after the fact, after your makeup's done, you want to get that final set in with powder to finish off, or since it's pressed, it's much easier to take to go. So this is the option for touch-ups for sure. So for me, I will probably always still use the loose setting powder to press in and to set my liquids and creams, but I will definitely use this to finish off and take on the go. But this powder is good enough to set your liquid and cream makeup. There's a few powders in my collection that I really love and I do recommend, but I still do always say, you know, nothing sets as good and as airbrushed with the loose setting powder. So I use my pressed powders mostly after my face has already been set in. So that's how I'll continue to use this. But I know this is a good powder because it can set liquids and creams and look just as good, if not better, than a lot of other loose setting powders on the market. So, oh, that looks so good. I love it. I love it. Okay, this is what I wanted. This is such a step up from when I did this review and I was like, it is not the same. I don't feel that way about this. I'm not just saying that. I think you can see. There's subtle differences, but overall, now I feel like the actual marketing is true. Now, let's say you were a fan of the original pressed powder. I ain't judging you. Okay, maybe a little. But if you did purchase this, I did film a side-by-side comparison between old versus new. So I'm gonna take you to that. It's in short form, but you got it. As an Easy Bake Loose Setting Powder fan, I was offended by this launch. And apparently I wasn't the only one because she reformulated it. Apparently this new one is actually like the OG powder that we know and love. I'm gonna be the one to test that today. But first, let's just make sure that the new one actually is better than the old one. It better be. Let's apply the old one first. Now, originally she did claim that this was just as blurring and beautiful as the original loose setting powder, but it wasn't. This is much more dry and not as blurring as the original. Especially right here is where you can normally see most of the blurring with Huda Beauty. And you can see it just never really did what the loose powder could do. Here's the old formula. New formula, different puff. This is a clean puff, by the way. Moment of truth. Immediately I can tell a difference. I haven't finished applying yet, but first touch of the skin. The old formula, it is a little bit more blurring, but it's sitting on top of the skin and looking more dry, whereas the new formula has melted into the skin more, making it softer, more blurred. Let's test right here. Much better. You see the difference? I will say this new formula is not as brightening. Both of these are the shade Pound Cake. So if I want this level of brightness, I'd probably go with the shade Sugar Cookie. Take a close look. Let me know what you think. Can you tell a difference? Which side do you like better? The new formulation is 100% more blurring, more lightweight, and more closely related to the loose powder finish-wise. I will say the older formula, it does brighten a little bit more. It does have more pigment. That's what you liked about it, something to note. But I think this new formula just sits on the skin so much better. It melts into the makeup better. The older formulation sits on top of the skin a bit more and makes it look a little bit more dry. This was more of what I expected when the first pressed powder launched. I thought these were gonna be a little bit closer. This is definitely closer related to the original loose powder formula. Which one do you prefer, new or old? And if you want to see it compared to the loose powder, you know where to find me. All right, and I want you to see it now with the HD camera. A little better, more detailed than my iPhone, but you got the gist of the application and my thoughts. Old formula, new formula. So you can see right here especially the difference in the emphasis on the pores. It's emphasizing the pores, but this one does really brighten in a way that this one does not, but I'd rather just buy a brighter color if I need it brighter, because this looks so much more soft and natural and blurring on the skin. This one, like I've been saying, it sits on top. So if you were curious about the difference between the old and new formula, they 100% are different, which might be a bad thing if you were a fan of this old formulation. I, for one, was not a fan. So I'm very happy about the differences between these two. I did want to show you really quickly this sponge that they have launched alongside this pressed powder. You are able to purchase, it's called the Easy Bake Marshmallow Puff and Sponge. Tools like this, I typically would say just use what you have. You know, I have little random, I was using flower nose, one size, get them from Amazon. But this one is interesting. So one side, I think this is the marshmallow side. It has this weird spongy texture, and then the other side, it's just like a typical sponge, like velour and soft and more normal. And then whatever side you want to use. you flip it over. I feel like the marshmallow side you can use to blend out concealer. It feels a little bit nicer for liquid, or if you really want to pick up a lot of powder, heavy layer of powder, you can use this, but I feel like then it would look a little bit cakey. So I'd actually recommend to use this soft side more for the powder. Now I'm saying this, I haven't tested it, so do keep that in mind, but I just wanted to share because it is available. I know in the Huda Beauty website, it comes in this nice little case, but I mean, save your money. You can order your sponges off Amazon. But that was also part of the launch. But anyways, you guys, did I manage to make that quick? I just wanted to make a video for my fellow Huda Beauty loose setting powder fans to let you know in a quickie whether or not this can talk the talk. And it can this time. So let me know your thoughts. Can you tell a difference on my face? Is there a side you prefer? If you're a fan of the original powder, are you going to pick up this new one? And how do you feel about the marketing? I think that's one of the most interesting parts where Huda Beauty's like, you're right, this kind of sucked, so we're fixing it. Interesting. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quickie. As always, I will have everything that I'm wearing linked down below. I just did a very simple look today. Still have some products from my speed reviews drawer that I'm testing that's on my face right now. And I'll have, of course, all of the powders linked down below as well. I hope this video was helpful to you. Make sure you follow me on all the other platforms. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one.
It's delicious.